Mosoma. Alumuna sisiau ya sama kosa. Amuna yeye, koma sama kosa.
Hello, this is Tempo Afric TV's Beyond the Headline program, and I'm your host, Petros Haile. Today, our guest is from Cameroonian Center, Cameroonian community, and we have the president and the manager. The president, Mr. Joel E. Kalle, welcome, and the manager, we have Mr. Steen Nyoki. I hope I said it right.
Yes, you did.
Okay. We appreciate the fact that, given the short notice, that you guys came to talk to us. But I'm familiar with the Cameroonian community. I have many friends and used to do a lot of activities, especially I know Steen for a very long time. But that's not what we're going to talk about today.
Correct.
Yeah. So you guys purchased a big building here in Minnesota, especially in the St. Paul area. But before I go that, if you don't mind, introduce yourself a little bit. Let me start with Steen.
Thank you, Petros.
Okay.
I sure do appreciate your invitation to Tempo Africa today. Like you said, I've known you for quite some time, and I've known Malik, the owner of Tempo Afric, for a very, very long time. We have always tried to hook up, and today happens to be the D-Day.
The D-Day.
And I am very, very humbled and happy to bring alongside with me my president, Mr. Joel Kalle, who has been the president for us. He's done wonderful work. And like I said, I'd like to present him to you like the host of Tempo Africa, Mr. Joel Kalle. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kalle.
Well, thanks, brother. And again, thank you, Steen, for hooking us up for this. I know we've tried to do this for a long time. This was mentioned a little while back. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it going at the time, but I'm glad that we finally made this meeting today. And thank you again for having us.
Thank you, Mr. Kalle. Okay, to start with, if you can give me a little background on Cameroonian community here. I know you just purchased a building, but before the building, you guys have a history, Cameroonian community. So if you don't mind, Mr. Kalle, tell us a brief history of the Cameroonian community in Minnesota, then you can do the follow-up, Steen.
Well, compared to Steen, I'm a little bit of a newcomer to the community in Minnesota. But as he will tell you, our community goes back almost 40 years in Minnesota.
Okay.
Like any other immigrant community from Africa, we started out mostly as students, a few students. Of course, the student population grew. For a long time, those who graduated didn't actually return to Cameroon. They settled here, and more students came. The community continued to grow, and I think at the last census, there's more than 4,000 Cameroonians in Minnesota,
The Twin Cities?
in Twin Cities and surrounding area. The point is, if you were to call a meeting today, you probably couldn't tell that there's 4,000 Cameroonians, but it's according to the census, we might be that many Cameroonians here.
Yes, yes. In fact, they did a study on Minnesota purchasing power by Africans.
Yeah.
Cameroon is one of the top 10.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. If you want to add a little bit.
Yeah, I would like to add on and say that I have been in the Twin Cities all through my life from when I came to America, immigrating from Cameroon in the early 80s. And I found Minneapolis, Minnesota to be the best, place for me climate-wise and education-wise and community-wise. So therefore, I find, and I always tell most of my younger Cameroonian compatriots and, people that I am a dinosaur here, because when I came to Minneapolis, we barely had a handful of Cameroonians, and I'm one of them, and I'm still hanging on. So when I see programs like what you are doing, from when I've known you, it makes me feel as though we've achieved a whole lot. We've come a long way, and seeing people immigrate from other cities to Twin Cities, like my able president here, Mr. Joe Kalle, who immigrated from Texas, to Minneapolis, makes me feel as though we've come a long way.
Yep.
And we tap those resources from people from other cities and try to incorporate them here and make this place a better place for Africans as a whole.
Yeah, I think that is exactly the reason why you guys purchased this building.
Correct.
Because the number is increasing. I used on one of my programs, I was boasting about Eritrean community having 17,000 square feet. But comparing to what you have here, this is a surprise. I just found out. Yeah. It's 57,000 square feet. Was there a need for this building in the community, Cameroonian community? And if it is, what motivated you to purchase this building?
If I may say, just a few things before I hand over to the president.
Yes.
The population got really, really big. In a short period of time, people moved in and babies were made, and community got bigger. In the past we just used to hang in a little apartment.
Yes. Yeah.
And gather. And if I may, tell a funny story, I remember a situation where one of our Cameroonian sisters lost a dear one back home, and we were trying to gather in her little apartment and condone with her. Like we do back home, we condone when somebody loses a dear one. And to our greatest surprise, the police was called, and the police told us to take it to, funeral home. That's when I started realizing that, the numbers are increasing, and the system doesn't, permit gatherings like that. So a hall or a community center like what we have has been a win-win for situations like that. And if so, then it makes it possible for us to get together as Africans, as Cameroonians, in a place where we call our home, and practice our culture with no reserves. So therefore, I will hand over to the president to let you know how it all happened, because he was here. He saw this building from when, or this community grow from thin to thick.
To the stage, okay.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Kalle.
Yeah. So, just get your attention a little bit from the community center. In 2008, we incorporated what we call Minnesota Cameroon Community. Once we incorporated, again, it is a need to unite the community. And what we call MINCAM, the Minnesota Cameroon Community, is a non-profit 501c3 organization. Now, once we incorporated, as Steen just got through saying, the need for us to have our own place, a place we call home, that overriding need was one of our focus points. We needed to know that at some point we need a place we call home, a Cameroonian home in Minnesota. Now, it took 3 tries. What the Bandana Square where we are now was actually the 3rd building we had tried to purchase, to buy, you know. And once this one went through, once we knew this was coming to fruition, once the parameters were laid, that this is a possibility for us. Oh, by the way, we outright own that place without a mortgage. Have a mortgage on it.
No mortgage?
No.
Okay.
So we own it. Once we saw this dream coming, our community mobilized like I've never seen it before. We had good leadership. We had put all our people in place. By the way, like any other African country, Cameroon, as you probably know, comes as a nation. It's a nation of tribes. The same thing for our community in Minnesota. It's several tribal organizations. There are student organizations and alumni organizations in town. There are these cultural groups and student organizations each have leaders. And these leaders come together under the umbrella organization called MINCAM. Now, once they came together and this dream was explained to them, how this is within our grasp, 57,000 square foot in a marvelous place in St. Paul, Minnesota. I mean, we've determined that whatever it was going to take, we would raise the money to buy this place outright. And by God, we did it. It took a lot of work, but it was done.
An interesting thing you just said, so leaders of so-called tribes, like alumni, student association, they come together and they created that community to purchase the thing. I'm sorry.
Now, if we wanted to be sure that MINCAM doesn't look like other organizations. Yes, it's a non-profit, and we confirm to every law governing non-profit organizations in Minnesota, straight up. There's nothing that you will look into our books and find. No. But we structured our organization so that there is an executive, like every other organization. There is a board, like every other 501c3. But more important, at least so we thought, we created what you know as the representative assembly, which in many ways, the concept was like a house of chiefs. So if you were the leader of a cultural group from a certain tribe in Cameroon, and you're organized in Minnesota, we needed you to come. You don't have to face an election to come into that organization. We needed you, even though you're not part of the executive, you're not part of the board. But you, as the leader of that group, you have your home in the leadership structure of MINCAM. That was imperative. That was important. It still is important. And we wanted that known so that nobody feels left out at any time.
That is a representative assembly.
Yes.
You know, other communities can learn from this. Without mentioning names, if we approach it from that traditional and cultural way of organizing in a modern society, there's going to be less conflict. And I guess that's what you guys did.
Again, once you incorporate as a non-profit 501c3, there are laws that govern those organizations. You know, you cannot go against those laws. But you as a community can model your own organization to be sure that while you're not violating the laws, you're also doing general representation according to your tribe, according to your cultural group, according to your student organization, alumni in your community,
Yeah.
So that everybody at no point should feel that they are left out in any way.
It's all inclusive.
Yes, everybody's leadership is there.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to ask you, although this is very important, is you purchased a building already, you don't have any mortgage to it, right?
Yes.
And I see on one occasion you were able to raise $150,000 for a fundraising.
Yes.
It is a big building, I mean, huge building. There's no exaggeration.
Yes.
And 150,000 is a huge sum too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But down the line for the future, you think you can sustain the community, within that? Is there any difficulty in the future that you may be able to face? Or is, I know you can't predict the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
But,
By the way, to raise, none of the money we used to buy this building came from a bank.
okay.
None of it.
None of it?
Everything was raised. For instance, in his house,
Yeah.
we went to his house as a community. He volunteered his house. We went there on a Friday. We raised money by any means necessary.
Okay, yeah.
Say a little bit of auction. A bottle of beer might never cost you $10 anywhere in the world. But if we get together, we might bless a bottle of beer and tell everybody, if you will drink out of this bottle, it costs you $20.
Yeah.
Okay,
Somebody will pay $20.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, there are creative ways that we use, but the overriding factor was that the community knew that this money had to be raised. Now, back to your question for just a little bit. Well, by the way, I think we had less than 3 months to raise this money, and we did, to purchase the building. But here's the deal. Our people now know that, like in the United States, once you own your home, you've achieved something. You used to rent from apartments, you used to rent, the manager will come and drive you, all do this. Now, you own a home now. You can cut your own grass, you can mow your lawn, you can shovel your snow. The pride of owning a home as an individual is primary in the United States. So it is for communities. We know other communities who own homes in Minnesota, who own their own community centers in Minnesota, not just the African communities. We know.
Yeah, different communities.
Yes, we know. But our people now have the pride of this ownership. And those of us who are in leadership keep pounding home the message.
Okay, okay.
Whatever it is going to take, you don't have a mortgage in this place. If it's 7,000 square feet, we can have an argument. Oh, by the way, we had a huge meeting in which we drew up plans for what we want to do with this place. I wouldn't bother you with that right now. But no matter what else happens, it is your building. Whatever it's going to take, if by the end of the month we can't pay $1,500 in water bill, we're not going to let our water get shut off. No. We call on the committee and tell them, hey, 2 months from now, 3 days from now, this money needs to be raised. We have had to do with emergency fundraising before. Whatever it's going to take, we want to keep our building, and we will do whatever it takes necessary to keep that building.
Okay, okay. I think that's a good enough incentive.
Well, yeah, just like he said, it started off with us, organizing grassroots fundraisers, and that's how we labeled it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grassroots fundraiser. We moved from house to house, town, area, city to city, and people volunteered and say, hey, this weekend you can come to my house, I will host. And trust me, the outpour, the response was amazing. And with that, we raised money. We raised a lot of money, just like you said, a bottle of beer or a bottle of, wine will cost you maybe $5, $6 regularly at a store. But when we make those fundraisers, you'll be amazed how fun it is and how much money people would donate or beat for that, just because they know that goes for a good cause. It goes for our center. It goes for us to retain that building. And so we've done.
You've done it.
Yes.
And the benefit of having a community center is you know what you went through.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
You were,
Yes.
in a small house.
Exactly.
We were chatting about when you were in Houston.
Yes. Yes.
There was no African place to visit.
Exactly.
Right.
Do you mind telling us a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was part of the leadership structure in Houston, we even formed what we call the African Community Organization, following the death of our congressman, Kalle, in Ethiopia. And in the wake of that formation, we used what was the Eritrean Community Center. In derogatory terms in this country, they would say a hole in the wall. The Eritrean Community Center at the time was just a small, probably less than, like where we are sitting.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes, but it was the pride of our community. We would go in there and hold our meetings, But today, I hope we get to that point.
Yeah.
We, the Cameroon community, right now, we have a building. This place, 57,000 square feet. Yeah. It is a mammoth building. It is ours. And other African communities should know this. And we want something for our community, not just the African community, the Cameroon community. We want something for the African community to stand, in this place. And we don't know the general plans yet, on how this will happen. But that is a huge building. It is something that we as Africans should be very, very proud of. And I hope down the line we can begin to talk generally about how the African community especially, this is in St. Paul. It's a good business district, and it's something that needs to come on the consideration by the general African community.
Okay. If I may add,
go ahead,
while you're here, I personally, like the manager of the building, I am proud, to say that we have been able to host a variety of African countries, from Liberia to Ghana to, you can name it. They've all been in the building and they felt at home.
Okay.
And such that, you cannot ask any more than knowing that we as Africans, we have a place, not just Cameroonians, we as Africans. I can refer you to, a dignitarian like, Keith Eliason.
Yeah.
He walked into that building.
Okay.
We invited him there, and he walked in there, and he went like, "Wow, this is something to to reckon with." So that gives us a sense of belonging, and such that when I walk into that building, like the manager, or I somebody calls me from a different country, from Africa, and says, "Hey, I would like to use the place." I am very proud to show the place and make them feel at home and know that this is their community.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. You wanted to add something to it? Or?
No, just that, in fact, my mind keeps going back to what the place, our dream view.
The way it's on the screen.
Yeah.
Your place.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our dream view of what this place is.
Okay.
Or should be.
Okay.
And like for right now, he's our manager. People call him when they want to rent the place, and we encourage other Africans in Minnesota to come and at least come and take a visit.
Yep.
Look at the place.
Oh yeah.
And it is a huge building. We as Cameroonians, we have dreams for that place. We have a dream of how we want to lay it out. But it is a huge place.
Yeah.
And we want to stress that as of now especially, whatever business ideas people have about making money, about, investing, about, he talked about the visit of the congressman, Keith Ellison.
Keith Ellison, yeah. Okay.
When he came, he talked about bringing trade shows to our building, And in fact, he called on us to find ways to hold on to this building, And by God, I hope we are determined, we as Cameroonians and I hope other Africans, when they come and visit, that this is a place they can come. Hey, I know this some time ago we had a party at a hall somewhere, and at 1 o'clock, guys will see parking their cars in the parking lot, and somebody told no. They asked us to close down. It's done with. Over and out. 1 o'clock, we said you'll be here till 1 o'clock, you're gone.
Okay.
If you had your own place, you can arrange with security as long as you obey city laws. You can be there till 2 o'clock, maybe 2:30, and nobody will rudely call the police on you or tow your cars. It is your home. And we want all the Africans to come to this place and feel at home at the Cameroon Community Center.
This is great. It's not only your dream. It's every African dream in the Twin Cities. They want a place where they can call home.
Yeah, correct.
And the reason I keep calling Steen is I've known him for over 25 years.
Yes.
So it is okay if I
Yes.
call your first name
Exactly.
basis. But on this center, in fact, from what you guys were talking about, if it is going to be an African center, just like they say, if the mountain doesn't come to you, you go to the mountain. It's just a suggestion from a host. Can you imagine? If you can call every community leader, African community leader locally, and have a reception. In fact, success runs from your own people. If your own people start supporting you, that is so. Yeah, every community should come and see this place, and witness it on their own eyes.
Yes.
So maybe they'll take it to the next step.
Correct.
But it's just like they need to know. That's one of the reasons I invited you guys here to talk about it. Anyways, I'm departing a little bit right now.
That's fine.
The goal of the organization was without limitation as follows: to promote unity and friendship in the Cameroonian community in Minnesota, to encourage members to participate in the economic, social, and cultural activities within the community, to be a voice of the community we live in, to provide a forum, discuss matters of pressing importance that affects the community in large, to reach out to other communities, and the rest is a structure. So if this is what you do, the activities are, I've seen other communities, they emphasize on one particular thing, how to raise funds to purchase a building. But African community, we need more than that.
Oh, yeah.
More than parties. So what are some of your activities that you have now or you're planning to make it part of the community activities in the future? I notice you have sports activity, cultural activities. So do you mind telling me a couple of things that you plan in the future?
Yes. Again, right now we are using less than 8,000 square foot.
Okay.
In fact, much less than that. We use it as a reception hall right now. Okay. But we have a dream, like I've tried to tell you, we have a dream structure for that place. Our reception hall eventually will be upstairs. We have a dream of having this place as a fully functional community center. It will have childcare, elderly activities. It will have, so that, right now, some of us are getting a little older.
Okay.
And we have parents and siblings and other people coming from Cameroon. They stay at home, watch TV all day. No, we don't want that. Okay. Eventually, we want to fashion that center to be such a place where they can go, kids can be dropped off, that kind of thing. We even have dream of putting a gym in there, even a library, in this place.
Okay.
We want, I don't know if you've been to some of the community centers around, fully functional. Kids after school activities, stuff like that, even dance troupe, we have all kinds of things planned for that place. More importantly, we have the dream of actually having even an African museum down there.
Oh, okay.
Again, the bottom, if we could fashion this place the way our dreams are, it would be a fantastic place. Yes. Now, you mentioned other African communities and so forth. And the reason media like yours are important is that you have a catalog of people that you know in the African community, say in the Twin Cities. I'm glad that you have contact already with Steen. And of course, I'll get your contact information today.
Sure.
We have, at least with me, I'm hoping that there's other African communities which are organized in Minnesota. there is a need that we form a compact and useful group as an African community in Minnesota. I know having such a structure is problematic.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
But it's something that has to be done.
Oh, yeah.
Not just so that we are promoting a Cameroonian center. No, there's an Eritrean community center, which we have used all the time, for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we have those. But we want to form a structure which is an African structure which people can turn to. In fact, like I was telling you, we had the ACO in Houston, and my dream is that at some point we transition to that in Minnesota. We now have a center, and somebody like you can play a very, very important role in saying, hey, in my work, I've met this person, here's the ideas they have, and let's begin to get something together. This should happen as soon as possible.
Okay, that's a good idea. That's in fact a good idea. I can see the vision right there.
Exactly.
Do you want to add something to it?
Yeah, well, just like you said, I'm just going to say, so far we've had easily, 5, 6, or 7 different Cameroonian, African communities host parties at, the MINCAM hall.
Yeah.
And they don't forget the hospitality they had there. They don't forget the space they had. They don't forget how, how homey it felt, that they were not rushed around, and stuff like that. So, just to add on to what the president said, and, I think it'll be a nice, it'll be a good idea to spread, those roots and make us all get under one umbrella at some point. That way we feel as though we cannot feel as an immigrant all year long. You'll find maybe one day in a year and feel as though, you're an African in your own home.
You're at home, yeah?
Exactly. So, that's my vision.
No, this is a great vision, especially you mentioned the museum.
Correct.
Can you imagine how the Minnesotan can benefit out of it?
Exactly.
Having an African museum here locally.
Yep.
I know they have a couple but it's on a country basis.
Yes.
But if it encompasses the entire continent.
Yep.
Speaking of the building, you only use small amount of the
space,
the total space right now, and you also have a second floor.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind telling me what that second floor look like for the future? Or what kind of
you mean for the
future use? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we even want to provide office space. Now, let me say this.
Okay.
We have, when we bought this building, we had a special meeting called of the community, in which the president at the time, and we have an architect in our community, we have a full structure of what we dream this place to become.
Okay.
It's going to take some money, which we don't have yet.
Yeah.
We are beginning to develop partnerships around the city itself, and some other ones which I won't mention right now.
Yeah.
But grant writing is one of the things that we want to do, which we have been doing.
Okay.
Right now, our main source of income is rentals, but that's not enough, and we know that.
Oh, yeah.
But we have a business plan. We have plans for that place, which nobody can just come in and alter, at will. The community sat down, they brought an architect, they had, everything is drawn up, it's sitting somewhere. Yep. It's just that the funding is not yet to implement it yet.
Okay.
Still, it is something that is doable. The number one thing right now for us is to hang on to our community center, and make it the best that it can be. We have plans for it.
Okay.
And again, as far as other Africans are concerned, and let me run back to the African Community Organization. Really, yes, of course, there's no such thing right now.
Yeah.
But if we all stand to benefit from that kind of effort, and the center, if once we take, other Africans should feel just like we felt about, or still feel about the Eritrean Community Center. When we would go there, I mean, hey, you could go to, they have Eventi Hall, they have other places where, I mean, as soon as you violate one little thing, they're coming down with like a ton of bricks on you. No, We want a place which is ours. We know us,
Yep.
you know. And again, the community center as it is now, we want every African in town to know that we are there for them. They will have Steen's number.
Oh, yes.
They can call him anytime. They have an email. They can email him. And they can come and have an activity. Or even if it's just to look around.
Yeah.
If they have business ideas
Yeah.
about how they think we can develop the place, you know, we have had people come through there. They've thrown around some ideas. You know, nothing is gelled yet. But we know that the place is huge and it is open for business. And we want people to have an input, especially if they have money-generating ideas.
Yeah.
We are open for this.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I'm sure a lot
Yeah.
of people.
Again,
will
this is a
come
huge place.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a
57
mammoth place.
1,000
You know.
square feet is,
Yes.
is
Oh, yeah.
huge.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm sure in the concept too, is you're inclusive.
Correct.
You know,
Yes.
representative assembly is
Yes.
a very good concept.
Oh, yeah.
You might as well expand it to African representative then. Coming
You know,
coming
once
to
we
the
get
center.
started with the concept, especially of an African community organization, let's see what happens.
Yes.
But again, it is this place, something that we want to say, well, because Cameroonians bought it. No. If somebody has a money-making idea, bring it to the center. Come out and take a look.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Contact me,
Yeah.
and we'll go from there.
In fact, yeah, we'll have another show for sure.
Okay.
And if whenever you have an open house, this is your channel.
Yes.
Okay.
Tempo Afric.
Yeah.
The purpose of Tempo Afric is to serve the community.
Exactly.
Nothing else, nothing. And that's why we were seeking you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
come
I mean,
from
you know, you
us.
did really well.
Yeah.
You did really well.
Yeah.
If I may add,
ahead.
I'd like to give out the address for people
sure.
who don't know. It's 1020 Bandana Boulevard in St. Paul. My name is Steen Nyoki. I'm the manager. You can always get a hold of me. My phone number is 612-987-1134. Again, Bandana Boulevard in St. Paul. The address is 1020. Phone number 612-987-1134.
And also, they can visit you on the website,
Yes.
which is www.mincam
Yep, MINCAM,
USA.
USA.org.
Okay. Just to repeat it one more time, www.mincam.usa.org.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kalle. Thank you, Steen,
Yep.
for giving us this brief on the Cameroonian community and the potential for the center. And I hope we'll see you again with a different program. Oh, for sure, I'll see you again.
Yes.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Until then, thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
On that note, we end today's program of Beyond the Headlines. We'll see you with a different guest next time. Until then, thank you. Have a nice one.
Thanks.
Mama ku, mama sa, mama ku sa, mama ku, mama sa, mama ku sa, mama ku, mama sa, mama ku sa, mama ku, mama sa, mama ku sa. Sumanye. Mosoma. Tangativo, ombusa tanga, neusama kosa. Alumuna, sisiau, yasama kosa. Amuna yeye, koma, sama kosa.